Okay, ready? Ready.
Oh my goodness me, why are we always rushing on a Monday afternoon? Welcome, welcome, welcome. My bench is an absolute mess as well. How is everybody doing? Am I set my phone?
Yeah.
Are you showing me a reason?
No, I just don't know if you want it.
Oh no, I don't want to. No, it's okay. How's everybody doing? Just let me know if you can hear me. A bit fidgety pants today. Just let me know whether you can hear me, and also can you hear Louise? She's on as well.
Hello.
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 How are you doing, Louise, today? Did you get all your chores done today, Lou?
My chores?
All your chores done?
What, at home or my jobs here?
No, here.
Oh, I think so,
all your jobs here, yeah?
Yeah.
You got everything sent off, everything done?
Yes,
I thought this morning it wasn't going to happen this morning.
I thought it wasn't going to happen as well.
Because we had such a fantastic, amazing, busy morning, didn't we?
Yeah, lots of web orders, lots of meetings with reps, and
Zoom meetings.
People. Yeah.
It's supposed to be non-stop today. Non-stop. I can't remember what I was actually going to get done today, to be honest.
I've achieved all my objectives for the day, so I'm pleased.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Good. That's what I like to hear. Oh, right. Okay, so everybody can hear us. All very well. Good. If you watch this on replay, no need to put in the chat that you can hear us, because we know you can. I usually quite have to laugh at that, because you get like a notification saying, yes, we can hear you. Well, yeah. Okay, so everyone, thank you very much for joining in this afternoon. We watched Kate's make-a-thon, didn't we, on Friday?
Yes, that was fab.
And that was Kate, how do you pronounce it? Kate Xiao?
I think so,
Kate,
yeah.
Kate Xiao. Kate was doing a make-a-thon for Mind. She was doing a whole day making up a lovely seed glass pendant, and she was doing that live on Facebook, and that was all in aid of Mind. So we watched that all day. We had that going on in the background. It was really good, wasn't it? We enjoyed that.
It was fab. So we watched that all day. It was nice to be on the other end of it, wasn't it, for a change?
I was going to say that. It was nice for the person watching, for us to be watching, as opposed to people watching us, for a change. It was good, wasn't it?
It was nice for us to be able to watch. That's what I meant, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah. It was good. So we loved that, didn't we? So I thought she was very good. She came across really, really well. I think she did a fantastic job. And it is hard to try and talk constantly. And when you're working, you're concentrating on what you're doing, but you've really got to keep on talking whilst you're doing it.
It's easy for you. you never stop.
I just generally keep on talking. I'm a bit quieter at home, aren't I? I'm not.
No,
I'm not. Am I?
No,
really?
no.
Okay.
You're talking to the cat. You're talking to yourself. You don't stop.
No, I know. You had a constipated cat. Well, thanks for that, Romy.
No.
That's very.
I hope the cat's okay.
A bit like my father. All right. Jill, she did a live at lunchtime, raised over £300. That's absolutely amazing.
That's fantastic, and a
Isn't
really
it?
good charity as well. Very,
really good.
Very current, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. So I thought that was really good. Okay, so shall we start, or do you want a bit more of a chat?
Lots of questions.
Lots of questions we need to get through, do we?
Yeah.
Okay, so
The Crown. Oh, Sandra. Oh.
season 3, season 4's out now, didn't it? So
We skipped season 3 because we're worried season 4 is going to be taken off.
we
We'll
are.
get done for treason. So we've been binge watching season 4 now, and we're going to go back to season 3.
Absolutely, it's very good, isn't it?
I love it.
I thought it was a little bit slow yesterday. You could have done with speeding up a little bit, but I suppose they got to do each section as it comes along, I suppose.
But we know how it ends, though, don't we?
Yeah. but it's all the things. It's all the things that are leading up to what actually happens in the events. Because we only see what the public saw, don't we? We only see what's in the papers and what the press publicised. But yeah, I'm sure there's lots that went on behind the scenes that we don't know about.
Loving The Crown, though.
It is good, loving it, absolutely. Right then, shall we? A little overwhelmed by the amount of content. Any suggestion of where to begin? Yvonne, just simply, if you want to learn how to do something, perhaps, the spinner rings are quite popular, because I just got a couple of those for Matthew there. Had the brand new one through. He's refined it a bit better. It's a lot smoother. So you want to make a spinner ring, you want to make a wedding band, you want to do some stone setting, put that into the search, see what comes up, or just go up onto the top. All films come down, you want to learn techniques, come across, you want to learn soldering, click soldering, all the soldering films come up and so forth. So that's the best way to learn. There's no real set progression through the site. We didn't really want to do it that way because there are so many courses out there that take you from beginning to end or from start to finish, that sort of thing. We just wanted to make it a huge resource that you could tap into. I want to learn how to do some fold forming. Okay, we'll just search for fold forming. I want to learn how to do casting. I want to learn how to do sand casting. I want to learn how to do graving. You just actually go out and search for them.
Do you know what might be handy though, actually, because that's got me thinking, would it be helpful to have some sort of...
Whiteboard.
Well, some sort of, I don't know, some sort of start here and then, I don't know.
Yes.
That's quite a common question, isn't it?
It absolutely is, yes.
Yeah, where do I start?
Where's my whiteboard, Lou?
I don't know. Downstairs? We're doing...
That's my whiteboard.
No, I think that would be really handy.
I think so as well.
It's just like...
Yeah.
And I can't articulate it, but just the kind of...
I suppose if you're a beginner and you want to learn soldering, go here and have a page with all the soldering films on perhaps and just make it really simple that way as opposed to having to go searching and looking for things perhaps. Yeah,
because if you've got a little bit of knowledge and you know, or if you've got some knowledge and you don't really know where to start with the site, that would be helpful. But obviously if you know absolutely nothing, then the beginner's courses, or if you know little and want to, or get out of bad habits. There's lots of scope there, isn't there, actually? So thank you for...
Okay.
Yeah.
There are less, yeah, okay. So Louise is going to carry on talking whilst I go and search for my whiteboard. You can't really lose a whiteboard, can you?
Is it on the landing?
Well, that's where it always is.
It's one in the garage at home. It's not that one, is it?
No.
Did you rob the whiteboard?
Ah, there it is. I got it.
He's found it.
It's there. Thank you. Thank you very much for bringing that to my attention. Okay. Whiteboard. We can't have a Q&A without the whiteboard. Excellent. All right. Oh my goodness me. So shall we make a start?
Okay.
Or does anybody else want to have a quick 2 seconds chat about something? Julie, only just discovered us. You're going to love us.
Andrew's very modest.
Very modest. Any guidance for beginners? Yeah, I think for what we're always looking for ways to improve everything that we try and do. Whether it be tools, techniques. And I think that also goes to the website as well, because when we started at the bench, we started roughly then about 10 years ago. I think we had 50 films on then, and it was quite an easy resource to look at and to find things. But as the years have gone by, 1600 films on there now, it is getting a lot of content and a lot of techniques and tools and that sort of thing. So I think perhaps now we did that improved search, the drop down, so you can come up with what you want to search for. I want to make something, or I want to make rings, great and good, and there's all the films. So we've done all that, but I think for what we've had a few people say, well, where do I start? And I say search for this, search for that. But what if you don't know the correct terms? What if you don't know what to search for or what you want to do, and just say, I'm a complete beginner, help?
We need a cheat sheet or something. It's just because it was never intended to be one of the largest resources in Europe, was it?
No.
That's not what some people set out and think, right, I'm going to design a program or design a school or design a program of education. And that 10 years ago, that was never really a thing, was it? I don't think you were the first of its kind.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's just grown and grown and grown and grown. And I think it does need a bit more organisation. And also we are still getting the courses together. We're still trying. I'm running behind. I'm running behind on that at the moment, because I've realised that I've got so much information to put down on the films about every different type of. We just done piercing.
Everyone's being so patient.
We haven't done anything else apart from blooming piercing so far.
But then it's taking so long because it's going to be such a good quality course and a good quality.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, it's not
experience of learning. It's
it's not a 10-minute film on piercing or
Yeah.
10 minutes. This is how you know. It's a lot of in-depth going through practice pieces, techniques. That there's so many tips that people give on the internet that are wrong. And I really get annoyed when I see, no, this is the wrong way. No, actually, that is the right way to do it. What you're doing is harder than what you're telling people not to do. So this is the reason why we're really going into it. And I think you could really virtually transcribe all the films that I'm doing and write a whole book purely on piercing, I reckon. We're going into that much detail. Each film is like 20, 30 minutes a film. I think we must have about 3 or 4 hours worth of film purely on piercing.
But it's kind of like learning the basics, isn't it? You have to, when you build a house, you build the foundation first, don't you? Otherwise the whole thing just kind
because
of...
anybody can show you how to lay a brick, how to put cement on a brick. You think, oh, I can build a house, but it's not, is it?
Yeah.
It's everything else that goes with it. It's all the years of experience on handling things.
It's the time you're investing in becoming a really good metalsmith, isn't it? I
Yeah,
suppose.
absolutely.
That's what the idea is.
Yeah, learn with the basics, and you'll find it so much easier as you progress through it. Right.
So what happened to the apprenticeship program? Well, this is what we're discussing now.
So we did the apprenticeship with Kelly. That was quite a few years ago.
I think you might mean the focus group.
The focus group?
Yeah.
Is that what you're on about?
I don't know. That's what I thought you meant.
The apprenticeship program. Oh, could well be.
Yeah. Amco was asking how is Andrew and Louise? We were talking about the weekend workshop actually on the weekend. We were having a really good chat about all the things that we've done a few things for already. They're in the pipeline, but we're not really going to put that live just yet. But we've been chatting about it. We just got so much that we want to do, but we got to try and cram it all into about a half an hour program, haven't we? We don't want to sort of do project or technique that takes half an hour. We want to do something, and there's going to be like a 5-minute segment here, 10-minute segment there, perhaps a tool feature for 5 minutes. Oh, you did mean McKelly, sorry, yeah.
I'll come back now. And that's what we're trying to do, and we'll try and fit it all into half an hour to make it really fun packed. It's going to be a laugh, it's going to be fun. We are putting things together. We're still coming up with ideas. We want to do visits. We want to go out to people. We want to go out to manufacturers. We're hoping that next year, when the exhibitions, hopefully there's going to be no Vicenza for Durston, but I think Durston are going to be doing JCK in Vegas. So we'd love to then take the cameras over to Vegas and go around and see all that sort of thing. And that's the whole sort of thing we want to try and put together. Not just simply, this is just what you do, this is what you make. We want to have it as a little bit of fun about what's going on in our lives in the shop, how the shop's working, what we do in the shop, what we do here, what we do on our days off, but obviously jewellery related. So it's going to be almost like a part of it's going to be like a vlog, but sort of television quality. So that's what we're going to be putting together. When it comes back to Kelly, yes, that was working well, but then she moved away, and it just sort of petered out, and sort of, I'm not quite sure whether she got bored, but she got a new job in a university, then she moved away, so it went sort of by the by. But this is what the weekend workshop really is going to be all about as well, that we're going to be producing. I'm going to see how that goes as well, aren't we? So that's going to be really real fun. Anything else? No? Nothing? Okay, cool. Should we start the question and answer?
Yep.
Okay, wait for it, Louise. It's Monday, it's the 16th of November, and welcome to today's question and answer. Louise, may we have our first question, please?
Yes. Amco has a figure 8 bent from 1mm sterling wire. I want to set a 3mm stone inside the loop. Is there a better or easier way than to solder a small piece of tube in the loop for a tube setting?
Ooh, what size wire?
1mm sterling wire.
To do for 3mm stone.
For a 3mm stone.
Yeah, I don't think your 1mm wire is going to be deep enough, but you could always solder another jump ring on top of it. So you don't have to do a tube. You could solder a jump ring on top that, let's have a think. So if you have, that's your jump ring, okay, and that would be being soldered onto a figure of 8. Yeah, so this is going to be your jump ring. Yeah, it's going to be soldered on top. I presume this is the sort of thing that you're going to be need. Where's my? Do you know what? I just losing everything today. Everything. Where's my? There it is. Now. Okay, so that's what I guess you're looking at. So what I would be inclined to do is that if you've got a 3mm stone, can we see that? Let's just move that camera. Been doing recordings and it's not quite central. There we go. Nice. Okay. So what I would be inclined to do is that if you've got a 3mm stone, I would be inclined to make the jump ring so the center point here is going to be 3mm. Yep, okay, so that is a bit off, obviously. So that's going to be like that. There we go. So this is going to be the same distance as that. So then what you're going to be looking at then is going to be using that. You're going to be cutting into it then with your 90-degree cutter. So where you've got the cross section of the ring, like that, you're going to be using this to cut into it. So you're effectively making it into D-section wire, and you can set the stone in that way, and then the stone then would sit in here, and then just burnish the edge over. So you've got a nice rounded edge to the bezel. That would be your best way to do that. So this distance, 3mm, would come to exactly halfway. So if you've got 1mm wire, that's 1mm, that would be 0.5 millimeter. So half and half one, so that would be a 4mm outside diameter wire, and then you take off 0.5 millimeter from inside, and that'll make it into 3mm, and that'll be your best bet to set your stone. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay. Janet is asking, what am I doing wrong? Broken 3 of the thinnest drill bits, making tiny holes in 1mm silver. Is 1mm too thick for the thinnest burst drill?
What is the thinnest burst drill? 0.3 of a mil? Is it 0.3? I wouldn't even try and drill with a 0.3. Because the drill's like this. The drill's like, it'd be so wibbly wobbly, wouldn't it? What have I got here? I got drills here. I think the thinnest that I really would go down to is around about 0.5 millimeter. What is this? Yeah, this is 0.46. So I'd say that's about 0.5 millimeter. And to be honest, I wouldn't go any thinner than 0.5 millimeter. Why? Okay, I want to ask a question. What are you trying to do? Why are you drilling? What's the smallest drill that you're using, and why? What are you trying to get to do? Because I'd be interested to know. But 0.75 is a nice size. 1 millimeter is still quite nice for a drill, but you've got to take so much care. You've got to keep a lot of lubrication on it. You've got to be so much care when you come to increase the pressure. Put too much pressure, and yeah, you've got your drill. Yeah, you've got your drill, and as soon as you apply pressure here, the drill is going to bend. It's going to do that. So you really got to be so careful with the amount of pressure. It has to be perpendicular to the surface. If you try and do it at an angle, the drill is going to move. It's going to go all over the place. So it has to be perpendicular. I wouldn't even go thinner than 0.5 millimeter. I would struggle at doing 0.5 millimeter. If you can go a bit thicker than that, great. If you can do 0.75, 0.9 of a millimeter, that's going to be sufficient enough. And don't forget, don't throw your drills away, because you can always use them. Because with the burst drills, they sort of come down and then, don't they, like this, yeah? So this bit of section here is usually plain, and here's your drill bit here. So
can I just interrupt? It's a 0.50 drill bit, making holes for a cutout wren bird to indicate underside / feather.
Okay, 0.5 millimeter, you're really pushing it. I think I wouldn't go anything 0.5 millimeter is really, really thin. If your drill bits do snap, you can always resharpen them right up to there. As long as you've got some teeth that start to cut, you can do it. It is a skill drilling, and perhaps I would start with something like a 3/4 millimeter and try and do that first of all, and just see how you go. Burr life, little bit at a time, on and off with the pressure. Don't run it too fast. If you've got a pendant drill or flex shaft, keep it going at what sort of a speed should we go at? Something like that, and go on, off, on, off, on, off, stop. Bit of lubrication, on, off. Never try and go all the way through. If you hear the drill is dry and it's going as it goes through the metal, stop. It needs some lubrication, and keep on going through, and just do it in little bits, and you should be able to get through. But practice with something a bit thicker to start off with. That'd be your best bet. Thank you for that. But it'd be interesting to see that, Janet. Be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, sure. Yeah, put some pictures on social. Tag us into it. We'd love to have a look.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see.
Next question then, please, Louise.
Okay.
Hang on a second. What are you eating over there for it? Because it's normally meat. And what are you eating over there?
Would you like some? I've got some chocolate money here.
Hey, guys, please. Thank you. Chocolate money. Next question, please, Louise. I haven't got any snacks today.
I've got lots. Let's see. Ferdinand is asking for some help with a problem with sand casting in Delft clay.
Yes.
The silver does not want to get all the way down. I've made the pouring channel and the hole quite big and close to the mould.
What's it got to you? Okay. Sounds like the silver is not getting hot enough. And also it depends on what you're going to be casting and the position as well. I do like the sand casting rings with a hole in the side. They're my favourite because if you have the sand casting, okay, and you're pouring down from the top here, and you're trying to cast a ring or a flat disc, the metal has to come in here and then flow. So it comes down the pouring channel into the mould, and it has to stop and change direction there and change direction there, which is really the metal does not want to do. And especially as you're purely relying on gravity, this is really, really not the best way of being able to cast. If you have these with the hole halfway, you would turn it on its side like that, and then here would be the hole upon the top with your sand in. That is going to be your best way, because then if you're casting a ring or a disc and you've got your model of a ring like this, the sprue can come straight in, the metal can come down, it's on its way down, and it comes down, fills the mold. The metal doesn't have to stop and change direction. It goes down and flows all the way around. If you're casting like a disc, that sort of thing, exactly the same thing again. Or if you're trying to do something like a shell, something like that, again, the metal comes in and flows. It goes all the way down, doesn't have to stop and change direction. Because don't forget, gravity doesn't work sideways. Gravity works downwards. But that's not what you're asking. You're asking, why is it solidifying on its way in? So if you're going to make a pouring channel, here then is one half of the rings. You then would have your void in this half down here. So this is your master here. But then what you do is have your sprue hole massive, like that. Okay, so it's massive sprue hole. The sprue minimum of at least 3 millimeters across, and you would have it coming right the way virtually down to where, in this case, this is my mold here. But if you had your mold and it was like a 2-part mold, and the other part of the mold was up here like that, this would come in right down here like this. So the metal would fill this void here, right down, so the metal doesn't have to solidify, because if the metal comes along and it has to go into a very small area, you don't have an awful lot of mass, and the metal, if you have a small little area, that metal is going to solidify so quick compared to a larger area. So if you can make the sprue hole as big as you possibly can, you're going to get the metal into the mold quick whilst it's still molten, and it won't start to solidify at this point because it's still quite a large amount of metal going through. If you had that and you thought, no, I want my sprue hole really, really thin so it doesn't interfere with the mold, and you have your it's that chocolate, Louise. It's that chocolate. Do you want a drink?
Don't speak ill of the chocolate. Never speak ill of the chocolate. Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you.
If you think you can do this, have a really, really thin sprue hole like that, it's not going to work. The metal will start to solidify. So the sprue is virtually non-existent. So it comes right down like this. So the metal will come in, it will go straight into the mold and fill the mold. So I think that would be a problem, is that, and also your metal has to be really, really hot. My little rule of thumb, and I've always said this, is that when you're melting the gold down or silver down, you make sure that you're melting it down, it's rolling around the crucible, you swish the crucible around and around, the metal should be swirling around the crucible with no lumps or anything, it should be nice and smooth and rolling around as you swirl it. Once you can see that, tap it, make sure there's no impurities, and also then you'll see if there's any sort of slight little lumpy bits in it. Keep heating it, swirl it, swirl it, swirl it. And when you can see it swirling and you think it's ready to pour, don't. Wait another 20 to 30 seconds. Keep heating it, swirling, tap, 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 swirling. Bit of borax on the top, swirl, swirl, swirl. After that time, whoosh, then pour it. Because you have to get that metal, not just to melting point, but higher than melting point. Because as soon as you take the flame off, there's no more heat, and it's going to start to cool down. And if you just have that melting point just where the silver melts, the heat comes off, it's going to solidify straight away. So you've got to take it a bit higher than its melting point. Yep. So then when you take the flame away, it's going to start to cool, but it's got a lot of temperature to come down before it solidifies. And that's what you need to do. Oh, I got a bit excited there, Louise.
You did, didn't you?
Can we have the next question, please?
Yes.
Would air vents help out the bottom? Sorry, yes, you can. What I would do is you can have air vents coming out the bottom, but also you can have them out the top as well. And because don't forget, you've got air inside the mold. And if the silver is coming in through the only hole, the air that's inside has to come out. If there's nowhere for that air to escape, the silver's going to come in and go, ooh, air pocket. No, we're not letting you in, Mr. Silver. So they're going to keep the silver out. But if there's little air holes, and I just simply use a 2.35mm burr.
Oh,
bless you, Louise.
It's me.
And then the air then will come out and it'll let the silver in. Sorry. Okay, next question, please, Louise.
Sorry, thunder then.
No.
Okay, this is a question from Gordo. Can you tell me how to remove a peral that is glued onto a pin setting? Peral? A pill. It's typo, yeah.
How's it glued on? It's glued onto... Sorry?
Glued onto a pin setting.
A pin. Okay, so a pin setting. So does that mean then that with your pearl, you've got a little hole in the middle and that is set onto a pin like that? A pin setting? Is that what you mean? And that pin is glued? Yep, I think.
The pearl's glued onto a pin setting.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think
so. I think that'd be... So what you want to do, you want to try and release the glue. The majority of the glues that people use to glue pearls onto these pins soften slightly under heat. So what I'd be inclined to do is perhaps put your flame... What colour should I do a flame in? I know flames turn out blue. Let's do a red, shall we, for a flame. So say this is your flame then by here. Okay, you just warm up the pin here, so the heat will transfer up to here, where the glue is inside the pearl, hold on to the pearl and just try and twist and pull the pearl off. Or you could actually have something really, really warm, perhaps put it on a radiator that will warm up the piece. But as long as you get this pin warm enough, it'll soften the glue and you should be able to unscrew the pearl and the pearl should be able to come off. Or put something like a soldering iron, if you've got a soldering iron, something like that, onto this little area here. But don't put obviously any heat anywhere near the pearl itself because that will actually damage it. But as long as you can get heat being transferred from the pin to the pin setting and where it's attached, it should untwist, no worries at all. Maybe have a next question, please, Louise.
Okay. Sorry, this is from Paul. Apart from making balls, is there any other reason for a charcoal block?
It is good for melting down because it's a carbon and it helps keep the ingot nice and clean. Also, what you can do with a charcoal block is twofold. You can make a bit of a circle here, okay, and this would be a bit of almost where you can melt down your silver, melt down your gold, and then by here then you could have that, couldn't you? You could have a little like an ingot and have a bit of a pouring channel by here, so you can melt your scrap in this area here, and then when it's molten you can tip the block up and you can actually fill up your little ingot mold. If you don't have an ingot mold, you could do something like that. What we've done in the past, people have asked us to make like little gold nuggets. And how would you make a little gold nugget? What we simply do is get something like a ball burr on the end of your pendant drill, and you just burr like an irregular shape in the charcoal block. You get your metal, you stick your metal in that little irregular shape, melt it until it's molten, then get a pair of tweezers, push down on top, it pushes it into the mold, it'll just then take the shape of the irregular shape on the inside, it'll have a flat back and you've got yourself a little gold nugget. Making balls is the main thing. Tends to be quite dirty, we don't often use them, we use these little soldering blocks. But making balls, doing that sort of thing, and I used a charcoal block for years and years and years. It does wear away, but those are, I think, they're the best type of uses for a charcoal block. But making the little nuggets is actually quite interesting. Or you could make a little square ingot shape. You can make a little, like a cutout in a regular shape, cut out a regular shape, like a little heart, melt the metal in it, and then push it down with the back of a tweezers, which is what we always do. And it takes the shape of the area that you've carved out. So that would be another way of doing it. Next question then, please, Louise.
Okay, Tanya is asking, why do we puff on our silver?
I don't know.
Andrew, why do we puff on our silver, please?
Why do we puff? I don't know.
Why do we puff?
I don't know.
Can we have a little bit more detail, Tanya?
Yeah. Do you mean, as in like when you get silver and you go, you do that perhaps?
Do you? I don't know. Like when you.
No, like you do your glasses. You go on your glasses and you go on your glasses, don't you? Then?
Good noise. A buffing stick. Why do you use a buffing stick? Sorry, yeah, a buffing stick. Why do we buff on our silver? You use a buffing stick.
Do you mean like a stick with leather on it that you could impregnate it with rouge?
Yes.
Something like
buffing,
that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, Tanya. Sorry, I should have known you meant buffing.
You can use a buffing stick to polish it, or you would use your polishing mops, a woolen mop. On here, something like just a nice simple little nice soft little woolen mop like that, with a bit of rouge on it. But I think not really sure why do we use a buffing stick? Don't know. I don't know. I would have thought it's just to polish up the silver. You'd use a tripoli initially to buff it, and perhaps you're using a buffing stick. I don't quite sure. My brain isn't working today. don't know. Can you give us a bit more information? Are you looking at polishing it, perhaps, or getting scratches out of it? Not quite sure. If you know how to hold it with the damp paper towels, just have a look here. Is it for scratches?
I'm not sure.
Not quite sure.
There's conversation going on in the chat.
Is it me? Is it me not looking at the right?
No. I just think there's two conversations, maybe more. So yeah.
Okay.
Can we have a
bit
little
more
bit
information,
more detail, Tanya, and we can answer you perhaps a little bit more accurately then? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Fab. Okay. Should we go on to the next one? I'll keep an eye out for Tanya's.
Please.
Yeah.
Yes, if you don't mind. Yes.
Okay. Natalia's asking, I accidentally bought Dialux grease instead of Tripoli. I've now rectified my mistake and bought Tripoli, but is grease still okay to use on silver or is it too rough?
I think if it's a pre-polish, you can still use it. As long as it's like a pre-polish, you can still use it. The grease is fine because there's grease in. There's grease in the Tripoli. It's quite a greasy material, and that's why you would sort of put it within the ultrasonic or hot soapy water just to get rid of the grease that is, because it needs grease, or it needs a carrier to carry the abrasive. So that's what the majority of what you can see. This is what makes it form. The abrasive is within the greasy Mars bar looking bar. Louise, chocolate. Right. So that's what it's going to be. But grease is the carrier. It's the grit that is contained within the grease that actually polishes. So yeah, if it's a pre-polish, you can still use it. No worries at all. And then you use your rouge or your super finish, high finish polish afterwards. Yeah, no worries at all.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, next question then, please, Louise.
Okay, James is looking to buy a pneumatic engraver. Do you have any recommendations of one that is slightly more affordable than the high-end ones?
Oh, right. I've got the Gravemac AT, brilliant machine. I bought mine second-hand from a guy on eBay. I had the compressor with it as well. I think they do quite a basic version. I can't remember off the top of my head what it's called. Graver Smith, something like that. Start off with the basic one. That's all you need, and just need it with the variable controls to adjust the pneumatics and the handpiece. You don't necessarily need a double one or anything like that. Sometimes you can swap over from hand control to foot control, but you don't necessarily need all that. I don't know of a cheap version, to be honest. I know there's things like Lindsay is one of the manufacturers, and also GRS are the other manufacturers as well that are top notch. Just go for the best you can afford. There is plans out on the internet where a guy shows you how to make your own. I haven't looked at that, and I don't know how I would even attempt to try and make my own pneumatic graver. But go on to the Glendo site, GRS Tools, have a look. I'm sure it's called the Graver Smith, if I remember right. And that's going to be the best bet. Even the cheapest version of a well-known brand is going to be a really, really good quality, absolutely good quality. Yeah, so that's about it. You okay then?
Yeah.
Cool. Excellent. May I have a next question, please?
Yes. I'm going back to Tanya's question.
Yes.
Yeah, she means use a buff stick instead of just a piece of sandpaper or file.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Okay, so people use buff sticks because it's easier. This is obviously a buff stick, as you can see. This is a bit of a well-worn one. So if you have a piece of sandpaper in your hand, you're limited to the size of your hand or the size of the bit of paper that you're holding on to. If you had a whole piece of paper like this, it's very hard to use this in a nice controlled manner on a piece of silver. But if you've got a buff stick, you can use the whole length because it is being supported along the whole stick. Or if you've got a round buff stick like this one here, this is then nicely rounded off and you can use the whole length. If you have a little ring and this, or a little small little area like this, if you had a bit of paper like this, all you could really do is just do that, go back and forth, and that will take you a long time. If you have a buff stick like this, you can use the whole length. So it's going to produce a quicker, faster finish. You can also then rely upon the hardness and flatness of a buff stick to get a nice flatness upon the piece that you're working on, as opposed to relying on a piece of sandpaper and pure, like your finger pressures on the top. So there's lots of uses. It's more controlled if you use something like this. You could put this on your peg, wrong camera, there we go. You could put this on your peg like here, and you just, you know, you could, you know, to me it's just so much easier. Put your finger on the back, you can file the edge, you can just file a nice rounded edge, and when you come to perhaps put an edge on a piece of metal, you could go 1, 2, 3, turn it a fraction, 1, 2, 3, turn it a fraction, 1, 2, 3. You can do this much better control, and then you can then use your buff sticks, and you've got a nice really rough bit of paper and a really smooth bit of paper because you've used it, and you can go through the various grits on the same buff stick rather than having to buy 2 or 3 or 4 different grit buff sticks. So that is the reason why we use buff sticks. It's far better, far more controlled, and quicker and easier to buff with. There we go. Any more questions there, please, Louise?
Yeah, lots more. Catherine is asking for help with polishing out a scratch in a softer stone like a turquoise.
So your best bet would be something like a sort of contrast then is a dual tool, because they have the 3M disc. So you can still do it without a dual tool. The dual tool I think is very expensive if you just want to simply polish out some scratches. You can easily use some polishing mops that with a grit specifically for the stone that you're working on. You can get diamond paste, and that diamond paste would be absolutely awesome if you have something like a hard something like this, like a hard felt mop. This has a bit of Tripoli on it at the moment, but if you had something like that with a bit of diamond paste on it, you could use that to polish out the scratch, and that would be nice and easy to do that. Far cheaper to buy a little mop like that and a little tub of diamond paste, and you can buy that most tool supplies, and you can use that for taking the scratches out. It's far finer than using something like a Tripoli or anything like that, because it's diamond paste and you get a fantastic finish. So far cheaper than buying a dual tool. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, where's the whiteboard? Sorry. Soldering the elusive perfect seam on a spinner ring, wider metal. Sometimes the solder does not wrap or seal the very end. I do file flush but splits. Any tips? I use soft solder pallions. Okay, so for a start, don't use soft, use medium or hard. It's a far stronger solder. Okay, so if you have again the most perfect solder joint, okay, there's your ring. It's a massive thick ring as you can see, coming around. Okay, so here is the join here. If that joint comes along and it is absolutely perfect, okay, it's perfectly straight all the way along, you fill it with solder, you should have no problems. All right, but if you have a joint, okay, and this is the side now we're looking at, okay, so this is the joint, all right, and there's a bit of a gap, and it's a slight gap. Perhaps you've even got it absolutely brilliant right down through the middle, but for some reason or there's a little gap by here and there's a little gap by there. All right, so when you solder, the solder will flow obviously between the join, but it won't necessarily fill that little bit of a gap. It'll try, but you may have a little dip, all right, top and bottom, where the solder cannot flow, because the solder, this is out in the open. The solder likes to stay between the edges of the metal. It likes to stay close. You know, it's like when you put your face out of the covers in the morning. It's freezing cold. It's cold out there, and you come back in beneath the covers where it's nice and warm. That's your solder. So you're the solder. You don't want to stick your head out above here, do you, where it's cold? You want to come back in where it's nice and warm. So the solder will always do that. So if you then go and stretch a ring and you've got a little bit of a dip,
on each end, or even on one end where the solder seam is, that is a little bit of weakness. And if there's a little bit of a dip, as soon as you start to pull it, it's going to go, oh, that's a bit of a weak point. We've got a bit of a dip there, and we're going to crack, and we're going to stretch in that particular part. So if you do happen to have a little bit of a dip, file the, not me, file the edge of your metal down until it is completely flush. Okay, so you don't have any dip. That's going to increase the strength of that little area because there is no dip. And if there's a dip, or if there's anything that makes this metal across here a little bit shorter, it'll stretch. So that's so important. You don't want this little dip. You want to try and get the edges of the metal absolutely gorgeous. And if there is a dip, just file it, put it on the edge of your, you know, you've got that there. You get your ring here. Let's have a see what camera we get. So there we go. So you got the ring here, and you just go round and round and round and round and round and round until this area here is absolutely gorgeous and flat. Then when you do try and stretch it, whether you tap it on a mandrel or use a ring flairer, just... Why are we laughing at? Did you laugh? I'll have a word with you later. So don't forget, okay, so yes, you got one of these, okay? Then as soon as you then start to flare, it's not going to be weak by here, it's going to be nice and strong. All right, Louise?
Yeah, sorry.
Next question then, please, Louise.
Okay, RCF. I'm new to diamond setting and I need a guide for placement of stones, but I can't seem to find any specific sizes. Any specific size bezel punches?
I think mine are downstairs. Specific diamonds. Read that again. Sorry, I wasn't. I was thinking the wrong one way.
Sorry, a guide for diamond setting.
Yeah.
A guide for placement of stones.
Placement of stones.
But I can't seem to find any specific sizes. Bezel punches, specific.
Okay, so I'm not quite sure what we're talking about here because you're talking about bezel punches. Which bezel punches are going to be for setting bezels? Is that what you mean, setting bezels?
Bezel punches.
But then if you're looking at the layouts for diamonds, that's something that you just got to look for images on the internet and just try and say you've got like a triangle and you want to fill that with round stones. You're going to have a little bit of a border on the edge, no worries there. Then you want to try and lay out your stones, depending on what size stones you've got. You could put a stone there, a stone there, a stone there, a stone there. Obviously then lay them out as best you can, like that. And then you may go, oh, if I put one there, maybe a bit too much, but I could get away with perhaps one little one there, one there, one there. So it's all a matter of just filling up the space, and then what you would do is to remove the metal between each stone. So you're removing all this metal. If this is what you mean, I'm not quite sure exactly what you mean. So you're removing all those little bits of metal to leave the rest of the metal that's around to set. But then you're talking about bezel punches, which is completely different, and those bezel punches have a profile that's like that. It's a bit too much. That are more like this, and that then closes in the bezels on, say, cabochons. As you push this down, this edge here will burnish over because you've got the bezel punch coming down. So I'm not really quite sure what you mean. And you can get these bezel closing punches in all different sizes. You can buy the kits that are like $40, $50 from most places that you just simply put on top of the bezel and then just like roll it around. Almost like a huge beading tool that would actually help close. And you actually use those bezel closing punches on claw settings as well. So that all the claws come across at the right angle as well, at the right pressure. So I'm not quite sure exactly what you meant in your question. There was two parts, I think, but hope that has helped. Next question then, please, Louise.
Yeah, Sandra is asking, is there a way to chat on At the Bench site membership area amongst each other and kind of like the comments under a YouTube video? Is there a members forum, chatty forum?
There isn't. I did look at that. We did have a forum, but I didn't activate it.
Was there a reason? I think it's a lot of work then, managing it then, I suppose, isn't it? And moderating it.
There is, and I'm to be honest, I think nowadays the lives of forums, I think, have really taken a step back, and what's come into the foreground now are things like Facebook private groups.
Well, we did think about that as an option, didn't we?
We did, and what we're going to be doing is when we're going to be doing our courses, we're going to be having specific Facebook private groups for the students who are doing the courses, so that they can all chat with each other that way. But I don't really have anything specific. I think it's something that we could think.
A lot of people have asked for it, and I think it could be something that we'd need to consider.
It would be a private group.
Yeah.
So I know At The Bench has a general public Facebook group.
But people can't necessarily post things in there. And
no. So should we have a private At The Bench group?
I think we might need some help with moderation.
Yeah.
Perhaps, I don't know, because it's a lot of work, isn't it, moderating?
Yeah.
It is just us two, isn't it, really? Yeah, So
we would need help with that. So, okay, so if this is something that you're interested in, just get in touch if you are interested in a little private At The Bench group for all At The Bench members. But then again, when people then who aren't members anymore, we have to go through then and take them out of the group if they are. So there's a lot of work involved, isn't there?
Well,
so,
yeah, but
and if people can help us.
If people really want it's going to help out then. But would it be a members group?
It would be a members group, wouldn't it, I think?
Okay.
Do you think? Okay, I'll tell you what, don't comment in the box here. Just get in contact with us. Email Louise. Yeah? Would that be all right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so yes, we are interested in this, and it is something that we do chat about. So I tell you what.
Not everyone is on Facebook, though. This is the thing, isn't it? But then I suppose... Yeah. It
is hard, isn't it? It's hard to try and get everybody within one area. And
that'd be on At The Bench or Facebook. That would be on Facebook.
That would be on Facebook, yeah.
But we need to have a little think about this, don't we?
I know the integration. We had Buddy Forum at one stage, I think it was called. I started to do it, and I thought, well, Facebook's taking off far quicker.
Yeah.
But then it takes people away from At The Bench. We can comment on the gallery images. The gallery images, members gallery, if you put images up, whether it be on pieces that you're making or your little soldering station that you've put together, you can put images up. People can comment on those images. You can give like on Instagram, you can click the heart if you like it. There's that sort of interaction within the images. If you want to have a chat with us directly, if you have a problem, you can always go into the members area.
That's always an option.
There's a feedback that you can put down, an image, a photograph. You can write down to us, and we'll answer your questions directly. That is something that's basically a one-on-one, but it's not really.
We'd need to look into
yeah,
definitely.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so just let us know if you are interested. How do you spell your name again?
Pretend I didn't hear that.
L-U-I. So do it to Louise at andrewberry.co.uk. Okay, so if you want to have a chat or put some ideas down, the sort of thing that you want, let us know what you want. Then at this point, Louise and I go in, tell you what we want this. And then you turn around and go, well, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to go on Facebook or whatever. But just put down what you're after, what you would like to do. Louise at andrewberry.co.uk. Drop her a line and we'll have a look. Is that okay?
Fabulous.
Cool. Next question then, please, Louise.
Okay, Elizabeth is asking, what percentage butane do you use in your torches? A fellow jeweller said that lower grade fuel can clog your torch and they are very hard to clean.
Pass me over a yellow canister down there, please, my dear. We just simply use, thank you. Let's have a look. What is it? I've never really looked, to be honest. This is purely
butane.
Butane. It is literally simply a butane lighter fuel, and this is all that we use. I don't think in this country that we have anything other than this, to be honest. It's got, I'm quite sure what 405 is down here. Butane. No, I think Clipper. So Clipper is the brand, universal valve. To be honest, I've no idea what quality butane that is. And this is just lighter fuel that you fill up your cigarette lighters with. And that's all that we use. And we've been using this in these. I think this little torch is about 10 or 12 years old. And it's used not most days, but 3 or 4 times a week on the projects that we do up here. And I've had no problems with it at all. And this is Clipper, a universal valve butane gas that we use in our cigarette lighters. Not that we smoke or anything like that, but that's what I get from our hardware store.
Cigar.
Christmas Eve cigar. Oh, I was sick, wasn't I? Anyway, that's another story. Right, Louise, maybe have a next question, please.
Yes. Very beginning. Total coolness. I'm having trouble holding a stud earring by the post in my ring clamp. It keeps spinning. Do you have any solutions for that?
You can buy pin vises. You can buy something like this here. Let me zoom in a little bit closer and you can see what's what. So this is what they call a pin vise, and it has a bit of gold in the end of that. That's nice, isn't it? There you go. It has a pin vise, and it has these little adjustable, can we focus on it? There we go. It has these little adjustable ends that come together. You can put the post into there and spin that up, and that would clamp it nicely. You can do that, and that's just like a pin vise, looks like that, or you can get the pin vises that with little handles like that, and you can do exactly the same. This has an adjustable little chuck, and this will take 2.35 millimeter burrs into here if you want, like use it for beading tools or perhaps for mill grain, something like that. But also the chuck comes with 2 chucks, and the chuck will go down to about a 1 millimeter, 0.75, so you should be able to put that in and then tighten it, because you've got the little knurled nut on here. You can really tighten that nice and tight, that would really get a nice tight grip onto your post, and that should be able to hold it. But yes, as you say, in a ring clamp, because you've got the leather jaws, they're gonna spin. It's gonna spin. But something like this, you've got the 4, almost like a Jacob's chuck, 4 jaws coming across from all different angles, and that would really clamp the post nice and secure. So a pin vise, so mine looks like that. It's a double-ended, so slightly bigger on the one end than the other end, or you can get that one there with a little handle. And I got these from Cousins UK, here in the UK. Maybe have next question, please.
Okay, Ferdinand was asking, what map gas torch would you recommend?
So the map is going to be American, I would have thought. So an easy torch. Do you get easy torches in the US? Something like that. You can buy like a plumber's torch that people do use for general annealing with a big screwing canisters. But apart from that, I don't know what type of torch. But an easy torch, anything that takes like a butane. I can't remember. Hokey? Was that Hokey? Remember you were talking about Hokey torches?
Yeah.
I think I'm not quite sure. You're welcome, Lynn. That's fine. But I think Hokey was one of them. I'm not quite sure where that was oxygen as well. I can't remember. I don't know off the top of my head, I'm afraid. So don't quote me on anything I said. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay, Suri is asking, are there any tool recommendations for building up texture while doing the casting wax process? For home version, and I don't have a flat shaft as I live at a condo.
Okay.
UK for safety.
Okay, so you can use anything. I got some really thick 60 grit emery paper that you can use. You can use that. You can push it into the surface. You can push it in and twist it to get the textures. What are quite good are sort of drill bits, old burrs. Again, you could fit them into those little pin vise handles like that, just to come over and to hold it. You could get some needle files, anything that's going to be able to scratch the wax. If you want a certain specific texture, look into you know, nature, leaves, twigs, something you can roll over the wax perhaps. Anything, I'm pointing over here because I got my, all my sort of burrs are here. You can use a burr, an old burr, shape the end, file the end, make a mini little punch. You can just put in and push in little patterns, something like that. Just use your imagination, I think. That would be the best thing, to be honest. But anything that has a texture on it will impart a texture upon wax. But say what the sort of texture that you want, and I'll see if we can think about something. Maybe have a next question, please, Louise.
Yes. Is my mic on now?
Yeah, the mic is on, yes.
Ashley is asking for advice regarding drop earrings on soldering a small jump ring onto a shallow bezel setting so that it's low enough to be able to push the bezel over the stone, please.
Repeat that to me again, please.
Drop earrings.
Drop earrings, yeah.
Soldering a small jump ring.
Yeah.
Onto a shallow bezel setting.
Yes.
So that it's low enough.
Yes.
To be able to push the bezel over the stone. So soldering a small jump ring onto a shallow bezel setting.
So shallow bezel. So you've got the bezel. Yeah. And then you want to solder a jump ring inside the bezel. Yeah, inside the bezel for the stone to sit on to push the metal over.
Drop earrings, soldering a small jump ring onto a shallow bezel setting so that it's low enough to be able to push the bezel over the stone.
All right, so I think I know what you mean. So you want to solder the jump ring on the side.
I think so.
Yeah.
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 Is that what you mean, Ashley?
You can you could you know, soldering block. Here's your bezel, and you just put the jump ring by the side here. So this is like a side view, and you just simply solder it so the back is completely flush, like that. So then you've got this bit of metal that goes above the jump ring. So this is your jump ring by here. Yeah, and this is your bezel by here. Something like that, and then you'd solder that onto the side of the bezel, something like that. Or you could have, again, here's your bezel on its end. You could actually solder the jump ring behind it. So you're not taking up any valuable space on the edge. You can do that. And if you look on the back, the jump ring then would be sort of sticking down here like that. Behind it, and if you didn't want that, you could always just file that bit away. So that then is behind the bezel itself. I think those would be two options that you could do. But I understand what you mean. If this is very, very shallow, you don't have enough space on the bezel. But by soldering it behind, or you could really turn it into something a little bit unique and have like a figure of 8 on the inside like that. Behind the bezel. So this would be behind the bezel like that. So then this is the back of it, and then you can simply then hang and make it a bit of a feature on the back, something like that. And I think by time for one or two more questions there, please, Louise.
Okay, let's have a look. Your copper jewels look quite thin.
Say
Does
again?
the thickness matter?
Say it again, sorry.
Paul is asking your copper jewels look quite thin.
Over there.
That's what it says.
They are quite thin, yes, they are. They're just there just to protect. Does this man see round corners or anything like that? Yeah, they are pretty thin. They are pretty thin.
Watch,
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think my battery's gone.
It has now. No, I haven't turned you off. Are your battery gone, is it?
On the vice, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My battery's gone.
Your battery's gone.
It's one way to shut me up, isn't it?
They are pretty thin, admittedly, but then they're ideal because I can just throw them away and reduce them. Or did you turn yourself back off again?
I didn't have chocolate Amco again. My battery's, no, I'm flashing.
You flashing?
My battery's going.
You got batteries over there, Louise. Pop 2 in. There's a good technician.
You cheeky monkey.
Cheeky monkey. They are pretty thin, but I do replace them. I don't like them too thick, because you just can't bend them. But I replace them 2 or 3 times a year, nice and easy. 0.5, 0.9 or 1 mil. Let's have a look. To be honest, it's whatever I've got lying around at the time. I don't go for anything specific. I just got a whole load of metal. 0.5 mil. They are literally 0.5 mil. And you can just about see the pattern of the jaws, the serrated jaws coming through on it. But it doesn't really, that texture doesn't then go onto the piece I'm actually holding in there. So that's what I use, but I will throw them away and I will put on a new set a couple of times a year. You on now, dear?
I think so, yeah.
You are
I'm
on.
back. I am back.
Right, should we have
Would you like another one?
one more question?
Too much info out there which is confusing for beginners. Yes, Lindsay, there really is. But that's why we're developing the beginners
Courses. Yes. Yes.
CV Power Torch. Weekend courses for beginners. I want one for my 65th birthday. Oh, yeah. Lots of options. Lots of ideas for when this craziness all finishes. That is COVID. The weekend workshop. Sorry, you did say that was the last question, didn't you?
I always do, and you should always be prepared because I always say,
I know,
one last
I know.
question, please, Louise. But we'll have one more, shall we?
Yes, you always do that, don't you?
No, Mike, it's only for, you can join monthly.
Oh, Mike, you emailed me. I'm so sorry. I didn't come back to you, did I? I do apologise. Yeah. You could join monthly.
Join monthly, but it's £20 a month, and 6 months, that's £120, which is more than what the £90 at the moment is on for. Oh, I got a bit cramp in my thumb. Okay, we'll have a think about it. Past Black Friday's coming. When's Black Friday? 2 weeks? Perhaps we'll do something for Black Friday, perhaps?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll think about something. We'll do something for Black Friday.
Give us the email address, Audrey, you mean? It's louise@andrewberry.co.uk.
Yes. louise@andrewberry.co.uk, and it's all going in and out of focus. You can't focus on white. How to repair mill grain on a wedding band. What you can do is obviously get a mill grain tool. If you haven't got a mill grain tool, use a very, very small beading tool and just go along and just twist it over the edge. Also, what you can do is get like a really coarse saw blade. You've got your saw blade that goes, oh, that's terrible, Andrew. Your drawing's getting worse and worse, mate. Let's do this way, shall we? I can do it this way.
Christmas tree.
Christmas tree. So if you've got that, okay, and then you have the side of your wedding band, and by here you've got the mill grain here, and then, oh, you've repaired it and those mill grain's gone, and it carries on here. If you drag that over the edge of the band, scrape it over the edge of the band, or really, really rough edge of a file, and you scrape it over the edge of the band, you'll put little indentations along it, then you can get your beading tool, and then just to round off those little edges then with a very, very small beading tool. It won't match exactly, but it'll be pretty good. Or just buy a mill grain tool to go over the edge. Next. Black Friday is usually the day after Thanksgiving when the stores are ready in the black instead of in the red due to holiday shopping starting. That is correct. Any more questions then, Louise?
Stores are reading. Oh, is that where it came from?
That's when the stores start making profits, yes.
Oh,
up until then.
I did not know that. Thank you, Beth.
Yes.
That's
when the stores start making, so they're not in the red, they're in the black.
Wow, did you know that?
Yeah.
Oh, did everybody know that? Am I the only person who didn't know that?
Yes, because obviously then the best thing to do with the business is try and make that point where you make not a profit, but you get into the black. The sooner you can get into the black throughout the year, obviously the more profitable your business is. But that's around the right sort of time that people then start making profits from then on, because that then goes into the Christmas season and shops are most
Last payday
busiest.
before Christmas. Because I always thought it was just the last Friday to go to the pub before Christmas. No, honestly, that's what it was around here in the valleys. Yeah, it was just the last big Friday night. Yeah.
P-up.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
You learn something new. Yeah. Okay, so I wasn't the only person. There we are.
Well, there we go. All right,
Okay.
I think that'll be it for our question and answer for today. Quite a few people didn't know that as well.
Oh, didn't
There we
know.
go.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Beth. Every day's a school day.
So, before we go, don't forget, at the moment it is Monday the 16th of November, and in about 7 hours time our half price offer to join At The Bench is ending.
Is it?
It is. Ends today because I extended
Is
it.
it?
I think we sent out about 18,000 emails on the weekend to people who want to join At The Bench. Louise, you have a coupon code, I do believe, on your system still
I
from the
certainly
12
do.
hour.
Andrew, would you like me to share it now?
I would love you to share that, please, Louise. Yes. You haven't shared it yet, Louise.
I have actually.
Have you?
Yeah.
No, you haven't. I'm still on there. I'm still on the screen. I'm still on the screen. I'm still on the screen.
I've shared it.
Oh, you shared. Sorry, you shared on there. How about a slide? Do that again for all the viewers. Have you a slide, Louise, to go up onto the? That's what I was looking for. Do you have a slide? Do you have a 40% half
no,
price At The Bench
hang on,
offer?
what's this one?
Yes.
Is
So
that it?
there we go. So if you want to join At The Bench, you've got 7 hours left. If you watch this on replay, it's gone. If you're watching it now live and you want to join At The Bench for half price, £90 instead of £180, use the coupon code AUTUMN50. You have 7 hours left, you have been told. Thank you for the slide, Louise.
You're very welcome, Andrew, anytime.
Thank you. And the other thing that I wanted just to mention, again, you've got 7 hours left for your 40% discount on this little chap here. This is, I don't have the rings up here. This is Durston's Spinner Ring Flairer. We did a film on this on At The Bench last week, and we also featured this for the first time on our 12-hour live stream. If you want to buy one of these, you spin a ring, you get the ring, you put it on, put the spins on the outside, you tighten this up, the cones go together, it flares the edges. Absolutely brilliant. 40% off. Use this coupon code that's come up on the screen now. It is SPIN40. Go on to durston.com. On the front page, I think Matthew has the spinner ring with a discount code on there. I think Matthew's also got the link to the 12-hour as well on there.
And I think it's fair to say we got Durston in a bit of a spin, didn't we?
And we did, yes. We were talking to one of the guys today, and he was watching the live stream. Was it the 12-hour live stream we did just over a week ago now? But then suddenly when we announced this little spinner ring, 40% off, down to about 30 odd pounds plus the VAT, the website thought it was coming under attack. He had to then stop watching it, be diverted to the website. He had to try and clear IP addresses to try and tell the website it's not coming under a brute force attack. It's actually people wanting to place orders for these spinner rings. So absolutely brilliant.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
It is. Andrew Berry has brought down Durston's website purely just on these spinners. So thank you everybody who has bought one of these. This is the better version. You've all got this better version because for the 12-hour we had this, which was the first version that Matthew did. The finish on it was a little bit on the rough side, but this one, that everybody who should be getting it now, I think he had close to about 200 or so orders for this. Much better. The finish is better, it's smoother, and it will mark your metal, and it's absolutely brilliant. So there we go. That's about it. Anything I need to have a conversion option on the website? How many rolling mills sold in spinner bits? Don't know yet, Paul. We don't know because, again, don't forget, Louise, we have another coupon code to put up on the screen for Durston, I do think. The Durston code, the 25% off Durston, off anything off Durston. But if you want to buy the spinner, it's spin 40. Okay, you get 40% off. But if you want a rolling mill, you want a disc cutter, you want a shank bender, you want a polishing motor, you want some mandrels, you want some steel blocks. You want
anyone you like, anything you like.
Anything.
Any rolling mill you like. You
any
can have
rolling
25% off anything.
Yep. 25% off anything on Durston's site. That is still available until midnight tonight. So if you want that rolling mill you've always wanted, 25% off, and it will ship out throughout the whole wide world. Yeah, so I think 25% off is pretty good. How much in dollars is that for At The Bench for the year? If you're using the Autumn 50 code, it's £90, which is $118 approximately, give or take, depending on the exchange rate. But that's what it was on Saturday, I think it was, when I answered someone's inquiry. I think it's about £118 for a whole year, $118 for a whole year.
Your link says the deal is only valid until the 14th. Yeah.
Which link is this? Oh yeah, on the screen. Yes, we said that, but we've managed to get them extended until the end of today. The slides we just brought up and the links in the chat were left over from our 12-hour.
Very lazy of me, sorry.
Louise hasn't altered the thing, so ignore
Sack me later.
No, ignore with you later. So yeah. Ignore the expiry date on the links that just came up in the chat and also on the screen. It ends midnight tonight.
Don't ignore the links, just ignore the date.
Yeah, don't ignore the links, ignore the dates.
The dates are wrong, the dates, still valid.
The dates are wrong, the links are still valid until the end of tonight. There we go. Yeah, Durston side have this enough picks too. They have picks. I've heard the Optivisor brand has a super small headband now and fits anyone's head. Don't know if it'll fit my head. I got a big head. It just goes back a long way, doesn't it? The Donegan Optivisors I find are the best. Absolutely brilliant. Love them totally. That's about it, Louise?
I think so.
You're more than welcome to everybody. You are welcome. It's lovely to have everybody here. We love this, don't we? We love this sort of amazing community. We're seeing people, and it's absolutely lovely to see everybody. Wine time. Well, how many bottles of wine did we bottle up yesterday, Louise?
Oh, gosh. Lots.
20 odd bottles.
It was a lot.
We've been a bit mad recently, haven't we? So I think we're not going to have any wine tonight, are we?
No, I don't think so.
No, we're going to have a dry night tonight. We did have some of our blackcurrant wine. That was really nice.
Lovely.
The blackcurrant didn't really taste like blackcurrant, it tasted more like pomegranate, but it was slightly fizzy, and it was absolutely gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
We got to do those t-shirts.
Yes, and we still have to do the raffles.
We still do.
We've got something to raffle, haven't we?
We got raffles, yeah. We got 3 raffles.
We've got Bill's lovely sea urchin pendant.
Yes.
Yes, so that's going to be... that's a lot to suspect cat injury. So yeah, that's going to be coming up in the next couple of weeks. That's our next job to arrange.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
we've just been sorting out prizes and sort of tidying up the bits and pieces after last week, chasing all that up. And once that's all done, then we can sort out the raffle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because we run this, we run At The Bench, and we've also got a shop as well, and there's Sharon and there's Jason as well who work down there, and today it has absolutely been manic. We've also got a website, andrewberry.com, and we had a whole flurry of orders over the weekend as well, so it's just been absolutely manic, isn't it?
It has, and next week?
Next week, glad you're right. Louise and I are having a little bit of time off, 2 days. We are not going to be here Monday and Tuesday. So next week, I think our question and answer is going to be on Wednesday, isn't it?
Yes.
We used to do it on a Wednesday. We changed because of staffing and Mary left and so forth. So the question and answer next week is going to be on Wednesday. So not this Wednesday, which is the 18th.
16th.
16th today. 18th.
Yes.
No, not going to be Wednesday the 18th. It's going to be the 25th of November.
And you might actually get to meet Jason.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen.
He wants to challenge you to something live. He's got it in his head. So you might see Jason's mush on on the live next time.
Yes, he did say he's like 6 grams of silver. What can we make in like 20 minutes or whatever?
These two grown men are the most competitive in the most immature way. 2 grown men, the most competitive you'd ever meet. And they're obviously brilliant friends, but
yeah,
it's just unbelievable, the level of competitiveness.
It's not me, it's him.
It's both of you.
It's him.
It's both of you.
It's him. He's just so competitive.
You're one as bad as each other.
He just cannot be wrong, can he?
Everything's a competition. Everything. I can't even begin to tell you how childish it is.
Oh, on that note, I think we'll go. So don't forget, it's going to be around about the 25th of November will be the next question and answer, but it'll revert back to Mondays after that. So we can have a nice few days off, aren't we? Mm-hmm. Right, so everyone, take care. Thank you for joining us today. Really do appreciate it, and we will see you all next Wednesday for our next question and answer. Don't forget, drop Louise a line. Let us know your thoughts about some sort of private Facebook group, At the Bench Facebook group, At the Bench forum. But yeah, have a think about it. Drop Louise a line. Let us know your thoughts, and we will certainly take everybody's comment into consideration, and we will have a good think about that. And thank you very much for watching. Louise, do you want to say anything to finish off?
No, have a great week.
We'll see you next week. Take care. You're more than welcome, everybody. Thank you for all your kind words. Really do appreciate it. It's been absolutely blast again. We will see you all next week. Take care. Have a nice week. Bye.